Hey guys, Becca Scoops here. How are you guys doing? Yeah, another video. Has to happen. Has to happen. This is very impromptu. I just had to. Color me crazy. It's Friday, right? So let's have a little fun. I thought, let's have a little fun. It's Friday. Yeah, so we're gonna be going over a couple things. This is like more just kind of commentary and cultural, what Gypsy's up to. So if you want to learn about those things, stay tuned. If you're not into it, then by all means check out my other videos that get into deep dives and stuff. But this is just for fun. So I guess Gypsy was decided to grace us with her presence over on TikTok, and she had some interesting things to say. And for me in particular, one of the things I kind of had predicted, she kind of confirmed. And so let's take a look at that video. Let me bring it up. All right. In this video, Gypsy's going to be talking about why she's not engaged to Ken and some things that went on behind the scenes. Like I said, most of this I predicted, but let's go ahead.
It's fixed and all this kind of stuff. So last scene was the cliffhanger, and the producers knew that,
Just for reference, she's talking about the last scene in their series. They didn't get renewed. The last scene, you see Ken going into a jewelry store, and they're kind of teasing it for the next season. It's a teaser. He's going into a jewelry store, kind of indicating, oh, is he going to propose to Gypsy? And this is what she is going to describe what really happened.
Scene was the cliffhanger, and the producers knew that, he wanted to go ring shopping. Oh, this is so hard to talk about. When we were filming our last day, where I was doing my interview where, I clearly had shorter hair, the producers were asking me a series of questions about the last time I communicated with Ryan, and they ask things in a certain way where if they don't get the answer they want, they keep asking it in a different way, okay? So the questions were like, do you feel like you need closure with Ryan? Do you miss Ryan? Do you want him as a friend? Is there something that is still, lingering in the air that you wish you could have said, and all this kind of stuff? So I was answering the questions, and Ken was in the living room, and this is at the...
Now, this next part is interesting. It kind of indicates to me that obviously there were things that she did not want Ken to hear. And we all know this. We all know that she's always been in contact with Ryan Anderson, but here she's going to describe how they were talking in one room and somehow Ken overheard. Well, why didn't Ken already know this? I mean, anyways.
Old place. Ken was in the living room. I was with the producer in the bedroom. And so it was hushed tones. So nothing could be heard from the living room. But Ken had overheard some talk in the bedroom because the audio guy had left his audio equipment unattended, and he overheard through the headphones what we were talking about. And so the conversation was basically me explaining everything that I said in the apology video that y'all probably remember. So basically
So just for reference, the apology video, I think, is where she apologized to Ryan for making this, for a lot of things. I think we're making this one video where she says he's spiraling out of control, where she outs him for allegedly having being on, methadone, just a lot of things. Anyways, her apologies are a dime a dozen, as you know, because she constantly is mean.
Explaining to the producer that yes, I had been in communication with him I did send pictures of Aurora to him. Why did I send pictures of Aurora to him? It was not to rub it in. It was to get him to see that she's an innocent child in all of this. Like, she's not an it. Like, this is who we are putting in the mix of a situation. So can you please take the paternity test so we can get you off the birth certificate, put Ken on.
Now, why this is really stupid and really not sensical is that because of the divorce proceedings, they were never going to take some paternity test that happened outside of the court's jurisdiction that wasn't court ordered. Meaning they just can't come into court and go, here's the paternity test. And that the court would say, oh, okay, great. How do we know how that was, if that was, taken the right way? How do we know this is even true? So I think this wasn't the real reason. I know she wanted to get him to take a paternity test, but I think that was more for Ken, and that it was more for social media, that she wanted to say which she did, go on social media and say Ken's the dad. And just a side note, if you don't you wouldn't be in this situation if you just stayed with one person. Usually when a woman gets pregnant, there's not a question mark in her mind who's the father, but no shaming. I'm just saying.
The birth certificate, change her name, and then we could all just move forward with a little bit more ease. And
ease for who?
So I was explaining all of this, and well, Ken overheard, and I had not told Ken, that I had had a full conversation with Ryan about all this kind of stuff, or that I had sent pictures of Aurora to Ryan. So Ken overheard this, and when we were done with the interview, I come out and I can see that he's visibly upset. And so I'm like, what's wrong? And he didn't tell me until after they all left. Okay. So we had this big argument about, this communication with Ryan does not need to be had any further once the paternity test is solved and the birth certificate is.
Translation from Ken: stop talking to that MFer. Okay, we don't want, you know what I mean? Why are you talking to him still? I thought you're with me, right? Well, obviously Ken does not know Gypsy. Go read the prison emails, Ken. She's never just with one guy.
Fixed and all this kind of stuff. So I said, I understand. I level with you. Like, I don't need to be in communication with my ex anymore. And I understand that. So 3 days later, okay, we're already having, that issue, that conversation. So we were kind of like on rocky grounds with trust. So 3 days later, they filmed that scene. And I told them, I said, I understand where you're coming from. I understand if you don't want to propose right now.
Now, obviously, what she's alluding to here, what she's not saying outright here, 3 days later, they filmed that scene. And then she says, and then I'm going to discuss with Ken why you probably don't want to propose right now. Meaning what I've always said, that scene was not instigated by Ken. Ken wasn't like to Lifetime, hey, you know what? I want to go ring shopping. I'm really wanting to propose to Gypsy in the near future. I want to go ring shopping. No, it was the other way around. It was Lifetime telling Ken, here's the scene. We've got it set up, so you're going to go into a jewelry shop. It was never his idea. And I've said that over and over on a few different videos. I said that wasn't him. He wasn't doing that. It was obviously something that was instigated by Lifetime as a cliffhanger to go, oh, I wonder if they get proposed. And then, the season doesn't get picked up. But still, that was it. It was, this is how they script the drama. This is how they script it. And so it was never Ken's idea. He was never going to propose. And especially even now, after she's divulging, that she had to tell him, look, I know we're having, she said, called it trust issues. That, yeah. So let's hear what else she has to say.
Oh, I don't want you to propose just because I'm your baby mama. And that's why I'm not pressuring him. When he proposes, if he ever proposes, that's because of his choice, and that will be the place that we're in at that time.
And it's not like I drop any hints, not like making this video or other videos where I'm showing. Remember the one where she's they're packing, right? And she's like coming in and out of the thing, and then she's like pointing to her ring finger. She's like, "Oh, tell him to put a ring on my finger," or something like that, or take that up with Ken or something like that. So yeah, she's passively aggressive, manipulating him and giving him hints and reminders, using social media to pressure him. This is another pressure point here. This is her like kind of, you know what? It's okay. I don't really want a ring. I don't really need it. But when he proposes, like, you're doing this publicly? What's the purpose of this? What is the purpose of divulging this story, really? What's the real purpose? I didn't need to know this. This is another way where she can like kind of guilt him into, doing it. Like, I'm being so good and I don't want you to ever do that until you're ready. But now this is going to all be buzzing on social media, right? This story. And like, hey, Ken, why aren't you proposing and all that? And so, look, if I know one thing about Gypsy Rose Blanchard, she is all about marriage and babies. Marriage and babies, and not in that order. It's babies and marriage. Babies would be the number one thing, her obsession. And we see that through the prison emails, writing. We see it just from her behavior with Nick Godejohn. This has been an obsession for over 10 years with this woman. And marriage. And even with the Nick Godejohn thing, she would like write out these emails to her friend Aaliyah about how they were going to have this snow wedding. She had it all planned. They were going to get married in the snow. That's why she called herself Snow Gypsy on Facebook, on one of her accounts. And I mean, she had all the details mapped out. And it's one thing to, be in that kind of a spot. I think every young woman, of course, you think about, when you get married, and you may even like fantasize a little bit about it. But no, these are like real details, and then usually we don't like go and feel the need to share that little fantasy that we might have in our head about our wedding day. Like, I got to go tell, this friend and that friend and this friend. It's just that it's her obsession. And right now she's got the baby. And so marriage is on the brain. And this is going to have to happen. And she's thinking to herself, wow, what could I do now? I don't want to seem too pushy, but let me think if I can make a video. And now, what kind of video would I be? Well, yeah, let me talk about how, I just want to make him feel good that, that wasn't the right time. We were having some trust issues. It's just all so calculated. Everything is so calculated with her.
I don't think that people should just get married because they have a kid. Like, my dad married my mom because he got her pregnant. And you see how well that worked out. And I'm not.
Are you to tell me that if Ken came to her and said, Gypsy, I will never marry you. I know we have a kid together, but I don't see marriage in the cards for us. You don't think she's going to have like a nervous breakdown and tantrums and freak out? Of course she is. This is all bullshit. This is all like, it's okay. Look at what happened to my mom and dad. You don't have to get married just because you have a baby. Come on. Just be honest.
I'm saying that we're in that situation. I'm just saying that, I definitely think that when we are in that place of trust and, we are ready for marriage, that we'll take that step. But things take time. So yeah, that was a cliffhanger, but something.
This is her showing Ken how reasonable she is. I'm reasonable. I know, I want it to be your decision. I mean, come on. I mean, anyone that's followed this story knows this is her manipulating Ken.
Happened before that, and that's why there was no proposal after that scene. So, but we're in a much better place now.
Didn't Ryan Anderson say last week that you tried to call him 8 times just recently?
So, and yeah, we're a real couple with real relationship situations. So we're not perfect. Every relationship has its ups and downs. So we're doing good. We're in a good spot now.
I just wish he'd get that damn ring already. I need my ring, right? I need the wedding ring. I mean, she hinted on that last video when they were moving. This is on her mind. And Ken is not going to rest until he does it. Or he's going to have to tell her, look, we're not getting married. I don't see us getting married. I don't think it's a good idea. I I I don't know. I could be wrong. Could be wrong. I'm just speculating. So that was that video. But even a more kind of like weird video that she comes out with, that Gypsy has a new profession that she wants to try, a la Melissa Moore. If you don't know who Melissa Moore is, let me take this down. Melissa Moore is the daughter of the Happy Face Killer, who became the producer of Gypsy's Lifetime series that we've all watched. And Melissa Moore also co-authored her books. Melissa Moore developed a relationship with Gypsy while she was in prison. She milked that relationship. She cultivated that relationship so that Melissa Moore could become from the Happy Face Killer daughter to like a Dr. Oz correspondent to a major Lifetime producer. Okay. And Melissa Moore, I don't know if she's still in Gypsy's life. I haven't seen her posting about Gypsy at all, but she definitely used Gypsy and definitely told lies about Gypsy, knowingly or unknowingly. I don't know. Like Gypsy had never eaten food before she got to prison. Yeah, just told some really outlandish kind of things coming out of Melissa Moore's mouth in different interviews. Anyways, let's take a look at Gypsy becoming a producer.
I still kind of collect royalties from my book. Any business plans? I don't really know yet. Right now I'm just kind of like, I'm doing my artwork. That keeps me busy. I still kind of collect royalties from my book. I don't know what like business field I would want to go into. Now, once upon a time, like last year, I had conversations with people in the industry about becoming a producer and working.
I mean, really? I mean, seriously? Becoming a producer? What are her qualifications for that? Unless she's going to be like just the producer that brings a whole bunch of money to it. But I don't think she has that kind of money because she's on Cameo, right? So a producer, how? What qualifies her to be a producer of any TV series? Here we go.
On perhaps a documentary, docu-follow style, similar to what they did with me with the Prison Confessions. So I would essentially return to Chillicothe to...
Sorry to pause it here. I just read a prison email today where Gypsy was very distressed. I should have brought it up, but I'll tell you what it says. Very distressed. I think she was even writing to Melissa Moore about how she was so concerned that certain inmates that knew her in Chillicothe would contact Lifetime to talk smack about her. Like she was so not liked there. And this is her own writing, that she worried that she wanted to make sure that they didn't talk to only the inmates she wanted them to talk to. So in general, she knew that she was a very unpopular person in the prison, not well liked. And so I can't think of anybody at Chillicothe. They all talk there. It's all very tight knit. It's a prison, a women's prison, and everyone knows everyone. And so they all know about Gypsy Rose, and they're all like, "No, we don't like her." Is the consensus?
To be the interviewer and interview women and share their stories, because there's still so many women that are in Chillicothe that their stories do not get recognized, and that's such a shame. So I would love to.
Does anyone out there leave a comment? Does anyone out there believe Gypsy Rose Blanchard is truly concerned about any inmates at Chillicothe or any other women's prison? That she wakes up and this is something that's on her mind. She's concerned and she wants to do something about it. You know what? Go visit them. Go visit them. Do volunteer work, and don't tell us about it. Do it just out of the kindness of your heart, okay? But this bullshit is just bullshit. It's more, I want to be famous. I want to continue my career as a reality TV, person. It's just insufferable. She's insufferable. I'm telling you.
Come back behind the camera as like a producer type of thing. Any business plans?
All right, that was it. That was that one. That was that one. And then lastly, I took a little look at, and this is going to be really quick because I didn't mean for this video to be long. But so Gypsy reposted this woman. She reposted this woman, and I couldn't believe it.
About what's fact, what's not confirmed, and what Gypsy Rose research on Gypsy Rose is wrong. So I've seen a lot of comments saying that my research on Gypsy Rose is wrong. About her feeding tube, her EEG, her muscle test, and her drug use.
Okay, I don't want to shame this girl. I'm not going to put a link to her. I don't want anyone leaving her comments. But Gypsy reposted this, okay? And she goes through all these things saying there's no proof here.
Feeding tube, her EEG, her muscle test, EEGs, muscle exams, swallow test, and even biopsies. But there's no public record confirming that any of those tests showed an actual disease.
I can't. I can't. I can't. Yeah, she had a microdeletion. Yeah, that's like a rare chromosomal disorder that produced a whole bunch of symptoms that lined up with anything. She did have an abnormal EEG. Here you go, the bottom there, September 6, 2007. She had an abnormal EEG. Okay, what else? She failed her barium swallow test on the top there. You can read that if you want to read that. That was very concerning. She only weighed 36 pounds. This is before the G tube, after she got the G tube. Okay. Yeah. So what kind of proof do you want? What kind of proof do you want that she had issues? Okay. What else? Oh, she had a diminished gag reflex bilaterally. That's very concerning. This was on January 14th, 2004 at Tulane University. That goes along with all the swallowing difficulties she's had. Okay, it's all documented. I'm wondering if this person has the medical records that are public, because if you don't, you can email me at beccascoops@gmail.com and I will share them with you. I want to make sure it's you, though, because I want to know that you actually want to look into this case and correct yourself, okay? And correct yourself. Really quick, this was the swallow study. I can't really show that for a long time. And here we go. Here is a letter about Gypsy, about the different things. Now, what she's referring to is that Dee Dee lied about muscular dystrophy and lied about that, blah, 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 blah. We know the whole story. I don't want to go over it. But this young girl is being reposted by Gypsy, and Gypsy's got to know that's going to draw people to her. And then people are going to, it's just, why do that? Why do that when Gypsy knows all of the evidence out there to the contrary? So I feel sorry for this girl. I feel sorry that Gypsy's put her in this position. And I encourage her to please email me. Please email me, and I will take the time to go through some of these things with you, or watch any of my videos, because I go over all of this stuff in depth. Okay. And by the way, Gypsy also on the comments of that girl's TikTok, she made sure that Bree knew about it. You know, she's like, "Hey, Bree, look at this." You know, at Bree, whatever her account is, so that Bree would know that she was, you know, notified of this girl's findings. And obviously, this girl, very, you know, young girl. I don't know exactly how old she is, but she doesn't know what she's talking about. Even it's just so upsetting. So upsetting because again, Gypsy's using she uses these smaller content creators to try to do her bidding. And then, you know, she posted some other guy too. I don't know. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for me at Becca Scoops for today. I'm going to be doing a live in the next couple of days. Please make sure you've got your notifications on. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please consider it. Please consider it. No, Gypsy's not engaged, but Ken, she wants you to get that ring. Okay. Let's just say it. Let's just say it. And what else? Oh, if you want to support my content and other things that we're doing behind the scenes to try to bring the total truth to the public, consider becoming a member. You don't have to become a member, but if you would like, if you feel passionate about this, then consider becoming a member. We've got 3 levels, and you know, I think the first one is $2.99. Anyways, we appreciate it because I am working doubly hard now behind the scenes trying to make videos and then trying to do all the other stuff that I'm doing. I made a community. I put up a community post from Lori, the Dream Expert, because she kind of gives an update of what we're doing behind the scenes. And so check that out if you want to know about that. And yeah, so thank you for subbing. Thank you for all the new members. We did get quite a few new members the last live. I appreciate you. I'm going to be shouting them out on the next live I do. And yeah, so thanks, guys. Thanks for watching Becca Scoops. I hope you guys have a great weekend and make sure you've got the notifications on so you don't miss my next live stream. All right, guys, have a good evening. Bye bye. Becca Scoops out.